Broadcasting live from the Albay Pio News Center, providing you the most exclusive news updates from all over the province. This is 12 o'clock Newsbreak. For the local news, a phreatic or stream-driven eruption occurred at Mayon Volcano in the province of Albay on Sunday afternoon, February 4. The Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology, or PHIVO, said in a Facebook post that the phreatic eruption began at 4:37 p.m. and lasted 4 minutes and 9 seconds. The eruption triggered a plume that was 1,200 meters or 1.2 kilometers high. It also generated a booming sound, rockfall, and pyroclastic density currents, or PDCs, which are made up of fragmented volcanic particles, gases, and ash that travel down volcanic slopes at high speeds. Meanwhile, the Civil Aviation Authority of the Philippines on Sunday evening issued a notice to pilots instructing them to avoid going near Mayon Volcano due to the phreatic eruption that occurred earlier in the day. In a statement, CAAP said in its notice to airmen that flights have been prohibited to operate 10,000 feet from the surface and advised to avoid flying close to the volcano summit as ash from the sudden phreatic eruption can be hazardous to aircraft. In another story, the Philippine Young Leaders Convergence recently announced via Facebook post that the Albay Provincial Youth and Sports Development Office, or PYSDO, headed by Mr. Rondon Ricafort, has been chosen as one of the finalists for the 4th Young SDG Champion Awards, Most Exemplary SK or LYDO category. According to PYLC, the PYSDO will be advancing to the knowledge assessment phase, and the finalists will get to share their stories of successes and challenges in advancing a youth-centered approach and advocating for the sustainable development goals during the 5th Philippine Young Leaders Convergence on February 16 to 20, 2024. In the national scene, former President Rodrigo Duterte is among the guests invited to the continuation of the alleged payoffs in the People's Initiative drive last week. Duterte's name is in the guest list of the Senate Committee on Electoral Reforms and People Participation, which its chairperson, Senator Amy Marcos, would hold in Davao City. Duterte recently called out proposals to amend the Constitution. He also warned President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. against following the footsteps of his father, President Ferdinand Marcos Sr., who was ousted in a popular uprising. Meanwhile, the president of the Catholic Bishops' Conference of the Philippines, or CBCP, warned against the possible consequences of amending the Constitution, saying the country may slip back to authoritarianism. The CBCP earlier issued a pastoral letter criticizing the ongoing People's Initiative that seeks to authorize the Senate and the House of Representatives to vote together in amending the Charter, in direct contravention of the bicameral nature of the legislature. In another story, the Department of Energy is predicting another round of pump price increases this week based on the first 4 days of trading on the mean of Platts, Singapore. Rodela Romero, Director 3 of the Oil Industry Management Bureau, said diesel and kerosene prices will go up by more than 1 peso, while gasoline prices will go up by less than 1 peso per liter. The DOE official cited several inflationary pressures on the pump price increases, including targeted attacks on oil and energy facilities in Russia and Ukraine, increased demand in the US and China, and the OPEC's decision to slash 2.2 million barrels per day from the market this quarter. And in the news outside the country, China said on Saturday, February 3, a small civilian vessel from the Philippines had illegally placed itself on the beach of an atoll in the South China Sea that both countries claim. The vessel, which landed on the Spratly Islands atoll on Friday, February 2, was there for supply purposes, the China Coast Guard posted on the Beijing platform. The Philippines has stationed a small number of troops on a World War II ship it grounded in 1999 as an outpost to reinforce its sovereignty claim over the second Thomas Shoal, known as Ayungin in the Philippines and the Renai Reef in China. In another news, Palestinian gunmen kept up attacks against Israeli forces on Sunday, February 4, in the Gaza Strip's two main cities, weeks after they were overrun by troops and tanks, in a sign Hamas still maintains some control ahead of any potential truce. Nearly 4 months into the war triggered by the Palestinian Islamist group's deadly cross-border rampage in Israel, there was persistent fighting in Gaza City in the north of the densely populated enclave and in Khan Yunis to the south. At the weekly Israeli cabinet meeting, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said 17 of Hamas' 24 combat battalions had been dismantled. The rest, he said, were mostly in the southern Gaza Strip, including Rafah on the enclave's Egyptian border. And finally, in the news outside the country, the United States launched airstrikes in Iraq and Syria against more than 85 targets linked to Iran's Revolutionary Guard, or IRGC, and the militias it backs, reportedly killing more than 30 people in retaliation for a deadly attack on U.S. troops. The strikes, which included the use of long-range B-1 bombers flown from the United States, were the first in response to the attack last weekend in Jordan by Iran-backed militants. More U.S. military operations are expected in the coming days. Iran's Foreign Ministry spokesperson Nasser Kanani said in a statement the attacks represented another adventurous and strategic mistake by the United States that will result only in increased tension and instability. And that ends our news break for today, February 5, 2024. We'll be back tomorrow for more news updates. Thanks to our 12 o'clock news break writer Francia May Boras, and on the technical side, Chad Bobis. Pinsetting for Mr. Greg Aliare, this has been your anchor for today. I'm Ella SILERIO. Thank you for subscribing.
Hello, this is Cedric Laep, Department Head ng Albay Public Safety and Emergency Management Office. Suportan na po ang Albay Pio Newsbreak dahil na po kita din maaraman, masasabutan, information, manawag sa mga pangaipo, manawag sa disaster, manawag sa development. Sa tuya po, dahil paglingawan na magdanog din dahil napula po niya sa tuya tabang. Salamat tabi sa tuya po.
Hello Albayanos! Iniibitahan po namin kayo na tangkilikin ng sariling atin, ang Albay Pio Net TV, na naglalayo na maghatid ng presko at makatotohanan at napapanahong balita mula sa lokal, nasyonal at maging sa labas ng bansa para sa ating mga kababayan sa Albay. Mapapanood ito mula 8:30 hanggang 9:30 ng umaga sa Albay Provincial Information Office 2023 official Facebook page. See you!